We as a species have found many strange things frozen in ice from the past. Sometimes species of animals that we did not know existed, or things that have even benefited us. However, there have also been things that have been discovered that are not only beyond creepy, but also dangerous. Here are the 10 creepiest things discovered frozen in ice. Number 10 is the Grasshopper Glacier. Situated in the Beartooth Mountains in Custer National Forest, Montana, is an ice formation full of tiny bodies. Discovered in the early 20th century, the original glacier was 8 kilometers long, but receded to only 0.32 kilometers long today. As it melted away, the ice left behind preserved insect corpses. Frozen in the giant block of ice are tens of millions of grasshoppers, or locusts, many of which are now extinct and have been there for thousands of years. Number 9 is alien life. Located in Antarctica, Lake Vostok is one of the largest lakes on Earth, nearly as big as Lake Ontario. However, it's situated underneath 3.7 kilometers of ice and snow. Because of the absence of light, it was believed that nothing could survive down there. However, tests conducted in the 1990s found microbes in the top layer of the water, suggesting an ecosystem that didn't rely on sunlight. Further testing revealed thousands of types of bacteria, some of which have never been found on Earth. The biggest concern is that if these microbes were released, that it would create something for humanity like we have never seen before, even worse than the plague. Number 8 is the Eaton. On October 13, 1972, a plane carrying 45 people, 40 passengers, and 5 crew members crashed into the Andes Mountains. After a harrowing 72 days of blizzards, avalanches, and no food, 16 people survived and were rescued. However, the survivors claimed that they'd rationed their food, but when investigators went over the site, they uncovered something disturbing. Buried in the snow and ice were the remains of the dead, many of them partially eaten. The survivors soon after admitted to eating their dead friends to survive. Number 7 are World War I soldiers. In 1915, in the midst of World War I, the White Battle was fought between Italy and Austria in the Alps. Nearly a century later, melting ice led to several bodies being found, some literally falling from the mountainsides. Over 80 bodies were discovered in 2014, many having been buried during avalanches. Investigators noted that while many of the soldiers were clearly caught by surprise, others had been killed in battle, their bodies frozen in the shape that they had collapsed in when a bullet had found them. Number 6 is the Anthrax Reindeer. In July of 2016, 40 people were hospitalized in western Siberia after being infected with anthrax. The Russian Ministry of Agriculture revealed a link between the outbreak and the recent deaths of over 1,500 reindeer in the area. After being frozen for around 75 years, infected reindeer carcasses thawed out during a heat wave. The living deer were exposed to them, some even consuming parts of their long-dead ancestors and passing the infection to human herders. Number 5 is the Sunday School Project. On May 27, 2016, an unidentified woman living in Goldsboro, North Carolina, opened her freezer and had the fright of her life. The woman had bought the appliance from her neighbor's daughter, 56-year-old Marcella Jean Lee, who told her not to open it until its contents were picked up, claiming it was being used as a time capsule for a Sunday school project. However, when nobody from the church came to claim the contents, the woman opened it and found, curled inside, the frozen body of Lee's mother. Number 4 is the Ice Maiden. In September of 1995, 2 men were climbing Mount Amparo in Peru when they came across a bundle that had fallen from a higher point due to melting ice from volcanic ash. Upon inspecting it, they were alarmed to find it contained the frozen body of an Inca girl, perfectly preserved and looking like it was a fresh corpse, despite being over 500 years old. The Ice Maiden was around 13 years old when she was drugged and ritualistically sacrificed on the edge of the volcano to the gods. Her body left there for centuries. Number 3 are piles of bones. Up in the Himalayas in northern India is a beautiful and often frozen lake. It's called Rupkund, but when the summer sun melts the ice, its other name became prominent, Skeleton Lake. In 1942, a forest ranger was walking by the water when he noticed piles of bones had been exposed in the thaw, many of which still had flesh clinging to them. The remains date back as far as 850 AD, and to date, over 300 bodies have been removed and studied. But what's creepier still is that all of them died due to blunt trauma to the head. Number 2 is the biggest virus on Earth. In 2015, scientists examining a sample from 30 meters below the surface of the Siberian permafrost discovered the largest virus recorded to date. Frozen for over 30,000 years, the virus was still active and capable of infecting a host, in this case single-celled amoebas. The simple discovery of this virus means that other ancient and far deadlier elements could be suspended in Earth's icy regions, waiting to take a toll on the population. And that is simply terrifying. And number 1 is Otzi the Iceman. While backpacking in the Alps along the Austrian-Italian border on September 19, 1991, 2 German tourists stumbled upon a body sticking out of the ice. After being excavated, it was determined that the body had been there since around 3300 BCE. Named Otzi after the Ötztal section of the Alps where it was found, the Iceman carries with it a curse. Several of those involved in finding and studying him have died under mysterious circumstances. Not something that most people would want to volunteer to study. So, the 10 creepiest things ever found frozen in ice. But what do you make of these stories? Leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll see you next time.